John Paul Rai. I'm coming to you from Tokyo, Japan. Today, I got an article from Robert Turner, who writes quite a bit on Depth vs. Heard. He's been following the case for quite a while, and he asked the question in the article, well, does Loreal actually know about what's going on with Amber Heard and evidence that's against her? And if they do know, well, there's some things left to be said about that. So first, let's get into the article, and then I'll give you some thoughts below. Here we go. The article is titled, Loreal's Association with Amber Heard Condones Domestic Violence. Brand ambassadors represent the ethos of brand, and Loreal has a huge problem. Well, let's sure hope they have a huge problem. We haven't seen any actual consequences for them yet, so I'm not sure what the problem is, but let's hope. Guilty or not guilty, is Amber Heard an abusive spouse that physically injured and attacked her former husband Johnny Depp? The court's still out on that, but evidence made public would suggest she is. So, we're off to a good start. For Loreal, Heard's innocence or guilt isn't really at issue. The suspicion should have been enough. The fact that people now suspect Heard is no angel. That she is, in fact, guilty of domestic violence. The very fact she's being publicly sued for lying about abuse should have been enough. Well said, because obviously, Johnny got kicked out of a few major franchises based on allegations alone and based on terrible allegations. So obviously, that's one of the main themes for a long time about this case is why isn't Amber Heard being punished based on much worse allegations with a ton of evidence? Clearly, it isn't okay, and either Loreal are aware of something the rest of the world doesn't know about, or they simply don't care, which is even harder to believe. Well, I'm not even sure it's harder to believe. I don't know Loreal. Big corporations like that are generally impersonal and they do whatever they think is best for profit or whatever is most convenient for them. So I could actually believe they don't care, but that's not a good look if they don't care. Loreal is PR savvy. They know the potential damage they're courting if Heard is found guilty and discredited. A responsible company that cares about the rights of abused people would have immediately distanced themselves from Heard. At the least, they would have withdrawn her images from public circulation whilst they awaited the outcome of the trial. And that's one thing I say a lot, is like, can these companies at least await the outcome of the Virginia trial before they make moves? Even when the UK trial hadn't been decided, Johnny still took a ton of heat. Why didn't they wait till the trial? And in this case, if these American companies see it's going to Virginia to an American court, why can't they wait for that? Loreal has done exactly the opposite, flaunting their connection to an individual accused of domestic violence despite a loud and vocal outcry from the public. And at this point, this channel here has got over 6 million views, most of on the Johnny case. I'm going to say probably 80% on the Johnny case. So there's other channels bigger than mine who have got millions of views on it also. So at this point, with the views on YouTube, the articles, the buzzword of mouth, it's hard to believe they don't know about the evidence and the very strong 99.99999% possibility that Amber did this. By the very association of these claims, Heard has made herself persona non grata for a PR point of view. Yet, she is still being protected, not only by Loreal, but on multiple fronts. Right, not even mentioning the other people protecting her. It's bad enough. It's Loreal, this huge company. Loreal continues the support of and use of the actress's face to promote their brand. They have clearly shown the public that they condone her actions. They are now firmly in her corner. And here's a response that Loreal gave to some people on Twitter who were criticizing Amber on the Loreal Paris USA Twitter account. I'm not sure who they responded to. I don't think they had anyone in mind personally. They just responded to the many comments they got negative about her. Thank you for letting us know how you feel about Amber Heard as a Loreal spokesperson. We respect your point of view and appreciate the time you have taken to give us your perspective. We will share your comments with the appropriate individuals in our company. I call bullshit on that. I doubt it. I mean, maybe they'll share it to the person sitting next to them or something like that who's also responding to probably the same group on Twitter. It seems like Loreal probably has a monkey there typing random English words to respond to comments about Amanda, But that's just my silly little opinion there. Here's the whole problem with Amber Heard being supported and promoted and having this strong connection with Loreal. You have to think of order of events of the general consumer. Now imagine somebody goes in to a shopping center, to a department store, and they're looking at Loreal products and they see Amber Heard's face on there. Now what they see is just a pretty face. Well, pretty to some people, not quite to me, but let's say, the average consumer who doesn't know much about her might think she's pretty. Okay, long enough on that one. Point I'm making is that if they hear about the abuse allegations after they see that pretty face on the poster, it's harder to believe. They're like, oh, Johnny Depp abused her? Let me think about that. She looks so nice up there. How could she be an abuser? And then they've already got that allegation in their mind. So even when they look up the reverse and they find the evidence, it's hard for them to believe because that emotion has already taken them over when they look at the images and they get the wrong order of events. So by Loreal having Amber Heard out there, they don't help people get to the truth or the facts of the case, you could say. What they're doing is they're creating this blur where if you see her first and respect her first, and then you get the information about Johnny Depp, it could hinder your decision making. And of course, the point the article brings up is a great point. They must know about this. How could they not? Why are their responses so dry and robotic and so typical as if it's some kind of auto response that you'd get from a phone call where the company has no more humans working at their control center anymore? And of course, the article brought up some points that have been being driven into the minds of everybody who doesn't know much about the case for a very long time, which is a good thing because we got to keep putting those points out there. We feel like a broken record sometimes, and obviously many of you guys who have been following the case for 2 years or more, in many cases, know these things, but don't forget, there's plenty of people who don't know them, so repeating them, although it doesn't feel great, it's still really important to do. You guys let me know what you think down below. Doing shout outs, special thanks, things like that. If you're not subscribed here, consider it. And if you consider it and you still don't subscribe, well, I guess we'll be sad, but I'll get over it. See you next time.